Over the past like 8 to 9 years that I've been sewing, I've actually never washed my fabric with a finished edge. I just threw it in there and whatever happened, happened. Well, recently I went through and I tested all the methods that I could find of what people have done to finish the edge of their fabric before they throw it in the washer. I'm going to go through what methods that I tested and which ones came out with the best results. So firstly, I'm actually going to share the one that I had the worst results with, and it could have also been due to the fabric that I chose to do it with, but I used this really heavyweight, what is this called? All right, so the company calls it linen cotton small check fabric, as you can see there's some small checks there. And I chose to finish the edges with some pinking shears. And it frayed so bad and it got super knotted up. And so I wish I would have maybe serged this one because it got tangled with other fabrics, threads, and it could have gotten caught in the machine and messed up my machine. So at least on this kind of fabric, I don't recommend pinking it. Now with this one was it's a stretch linen. So it's linen with some probably spandex in it of some sort. And I decided to clip the corners. So I heard somewhere if you just clip all the corners at a diagonal, then it's not going to fray. Well, that is not true because this one frayed so bad and it got tangled up with that last one and it just was not worth it. I wish I would have finished it properly because I was really excited about this fabric and it could have damaged it more. I don't recommend them. Next one I did was this linen herringbone twill fabric. It's mid-weight and I serged it and it did perfectly. It had no issues. I totally recommend serging. That's my favorite way. And then the next one that I did was this linen jacquard fabric and I zigzagged the edges right here and it did really well. This did not really fray at all. And I would highly recommend that if you don't have a serger that you just zigzag the edges. Next method that I did was zigzagging two edges together with like a wider zigzag. That's what was recommended so that you can like easily take it apart. So right now it's all connected. It's like a big circle because the edges are together. But I feel like it held up okay, but it definitely wasn't my favorite way of doing it. Saved a little bit of time for sure, but then you have to take some time to either cut that off and waste that fabric that could have just frayed or unpick it, your choice. Not my favorite method. And then with this one, I decided to experiment. This is just 100% linen fabric, and I sewed a straight stitch all the way across, and I feel like it either did nothing or frayed just the same as it would if I would have left it without that. For example, this one I did not do anything to the edges, and as you can see here, we had some fraying across the whole thing. Maybe this one has a little bit less, but I really felt like the straight stitch was pointless. Let's see if I can show you some of that. It's a little bit frayed. So like I said, most of my sewing life, I have not even worried about ever finishing the edges before I threw it in the wash. However, I feel like choosing to do that will preserve your fabric longer and possibly have a better result in the washer without the risk of ruining your washer with all the frayed edges getting tangled up and caught in your barrel, and then also getting tangled up with each other, because I can throw in footage here of what that looked like when I was trying to untangle these two together because they looked really bad. So the pinked one, the edges did okay. They didn't fray too much. And you can see like it's not really looking pinked anymore, but that really prevented it from fraying further. Except for on this side, which I know I did both sides, but this one that we just clipped the corners, honestly, I don't think it did anything for us because we've got a huge knot. Like they are tied together in this knot that both of them frayed pretty bad. So that is definitely something you're going to want to watch out for as as you go about, because and it's the reason that people suggest that you finish before you sew. So in my preference, I think my favorite two were the zigzagging the edges and serging the edges so that you don't get this mess. That's my 2 cents on different ways that you can finish your edges before you throw it in the washer. I hope that you enjoyed this little portion of the training.